seeing different family members or friends throughout my matriculation in life who might have suffered from mental health, whether they died or they lived, or people that have physical health issues that died or lived. I think I just continued to try to do what I could and learn the lessons, stay prayed up, and stay positive and like pursue the things that I wanted to pursue in life. Um, and I think prayers is just a big part of that. As I moved and transitioned into adulthood, I learned more about meditation. So I do enjoy meditating. That's something that I enjoy doing as much as I can. And even in like preparing to work as an actor, I don't always work from like a personal place. I don't like to necessarily do that, but there might be times where I'm feeling okay, and I might choose to reference something that could kind of be a trigger, or reference something that's personal to me, but it actually relates to an element of Malik's story. So I did a little bit of that, but just as an actor, I try to work from a relaxed place. So certain exercises I try to do, just to make sure that my instrument is available, and I know things that might be triggers or might help me get to an emotional place. And if
Right.
I do have to use something that's personal, then there's also just kind of like, some people may call them like kind of closing techniques or rituals that you can do to just not allow your body to go into the trauma space, or reference a place that was not as ideal. And
Right.
you just be reminded that, hey, we were playing, we were creating something, and now I can move back on to life. And this isn't real, this isn't something that's going to be traumatic to me.
That's really good, and I'm glad you spoke about that, because as actors, like you said, sometimes we take on those characters and they sit and resonate with us, and of course, it could put you in a bad mental space and some area that you may not can work your way out of. But I'm glad that you're able to find the proper techniques that help you make sure that you're okay on set and off. So, Angelo, tell me, what did you pull from to bring out your character?
Oh man, well, playing Dr. Broadus was fun. He kind of provided something again to not try to do like too many spoilers, but Naomi was dealing with a set of issues that made her seem like a firecracker. It made her seem like she was gonna fly off the hinges. So to be able to provide, energy that's like neutralizing that, but without matching it or going blow for blow with it, and just being like, it's okay. Like, listen,
Now, can
without
you
patronizing
see him do
either.
that?
You know what
I
I
don't know
mean?
if
But
I can
still
see
being
you
able
being that way.
to. Hey,
Because
it's
you
necessary.
oh wow.
It's necessary out here in this world. It's a crazy world out here. You gotta like maintain like. So I'm looking at Jamel like driving around. So even in traffic, like you gotta maintain a certain woosah because people are crazy and people gonna people. Humans gonna human. So you gotta be able to like have something that you can tap into. That's just like, all right, man, this ain't about me. You got somewhere to be. You pissed. You're crazy. Whatever. Like, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. So I'm liable to look like I'm liable to look crazy trying to take this personal and make it about me, you know?
Right.
So just being able to tap into a perspective of like, yo, this is a hospital, there's a lot going on here. And you deal with this on a regular. And that's a big part of, these brothers could tell you in our craft, you want to treat things based on its circumstance or frequency or how often it might happen. So with this is something that, a doctor like that would deal with on a regular. So you got to be able to have that kind of woo-saw, you know what I mean? But as a human, I think you need that too.
Absolutely. You definitely kept her calm. Like she was, like you said, on 10,000, you was like, yes, and no. You stayed even keeled throughout the whole movie. I was like, how is that even possible? You laugh,
But
you said,
it's a balance because you got to stay without being a pushover. You know what I mean?
that's true. You was firm, but fair. So look, we're gonna take a look at As Long as I Love You. Let's watch.
As long as I love you and you love me, that's all that matters, right?
I can't do this with you, Quincy. Just leave, okay? Please.
I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on. And why you keep pulling away from me?
Hey, didn't she just tell you to leave?
You need to leave right now,
I
Quincy.
suggest if you don't want another case against you, you back the hell off, all right?
It's okay, Nate. You need to leave before I toss your ass up out of here.
All right, so now
Getting
y'all
into
see what I'm
it.
talking about.
I was all
That
in
was,
it. I
He had the mean fro too.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I grew that thing out too. I had to cut that off. A lot going on. Yeah, yeah. That was
Jamel,
tough. That was tough.
Jamel, that was like
Yeah,
I was all into that. I was like, I forgot it was on the show. I was all into the movie.
right.
Where did that come from? Like you was just like really honed in on like you was like, yo,
Yeah, I was in a space. I put myself in a space of I'm not. My objective was I'm not about to let her walk away because I actually really love this girl. You know what I'm
we talked
saying?
about
So
that before. We talked about
yeah,
that in our last
yeah.
was at BT. Elaborate.
Hmm. Yeah, so just like what we were saying, like love is just a thing that you really can't put in a box, and a lot of people try to, and if you strip away everything, and how things were, and go back to how things were, like it's something that you just cannot box up. It's like how could you tell me that I made the right decision before, and this love ain't real now, or vice versa. Who's to say what is the real right thing? Because there's really no right way to live the thing out. God ain't make it like that. It's like, you learn and you move through with what you learn, and you learn more and you move through with what you learn, and you just trimming the fat till you get down to the lean meat. You know what I'm saying? And
That's
that's
what I'm
that's life.
trying to do. Trim the fat. So
You gotta trim that fat, baby.
the fat I'm trying to trim is. So are you saying? Because remember, your character was
Yeah,
married.
that's right. That's
Look,
right.
he's right. And this was your side piece, correct? So you say you
Well,
just get who you
so
love.
yeah, it was. I feel the character now that is going in another direction now with the backstory, but I feel the character, the story I kind of put together in my mind so that it would be more real to me was that I feel the character really wasn't in love with who he was with, and this has been something that he's always loved. So life happens, man. Some people make a left while these you make a right, and then y'all end up meeting somewhere in the zigzag puzzle somewhere down the line, and it's like, damn, hey, what I'm saying? And that's just life, man. And did you make the right decision? I've had a ex-girlfriend of mine who has kids now, and she was just like, yo, I wish we should have did the right thing together. And I'm like, yeah, but so it's like you don't know how life is driving where life is driving you. You just gotta learn, trim the fat, learn from things, move on, take what you learn and move on, move forward. And I think that this character, he loved her so much, and he's probably learned so much from what he was in, but to realize that that's not what he wanted to be in, and it's a sticky situation, but it's love, it's love nonetheless. So I mean, what could you do about that? Of course, the outside circle will be judging them, but I
Mhm.
was in a space. I'm not leaving. I love this woman, and I'm not leaving without a good explanation to why you are disconnecting from me.
We saw that. I mean, it was very evident in the
Yeah, you
movie.
did the work, man.
He
Thanks,
really
brother.
did
Thanks,
the work.
brother.
He really did the work. Like we were all just sitting here like this when the commercial came off. We were like, "Oh, okay, we back," because you just took us there on that journey with you. We could feel the pain or your sincerity, and we also saw hers as well. So, question, Jamel, being raised in the foster care system, how did that affect your relationship with people?
Um, I guess it put me kind of like in a. it did give me a mindset that I felt like psychologically I always felt a step behind everybody, and I think it worked out later, like I said, for the best. But at the time, I always felt like I was at a disadvantage. Like I always felt like a step behind people. My friends, they all talk about the things they were getting and the stuff was going on with their family and this and that, and I just didn't have that. I didn't have that connection. The friends that had the relationship with their pops, they all, my pops did this, and me and my father's da, da, da. I just didn't have that, and so it did kind of, I always felt to step back in those conversations, or when when people were talking about stuff like that, I felt awkward. But I believe that later on, it became a shield instead of a crutch. I started using those things. It kind of like led me to the right track of mine that I needed to be on. Because it really, you be born alone, die alone. So either way it goes, in whatever position you in, you just got to remember that you can dig internally instead of looking externally for answers. You can dig internally and you can become who you need to become, looking inside. It's not always an outward thing.
Right.
And it was a tough lesson to learn, but I learned it for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the contribution you made to this movie. You really you really did your thing.
Yeah,
So let's
salute,
look
brother.
Oh, thank
at
you.
Salute.
a clip from Mr.
Thanks,
Jared.
brother.
Lee. Let's check it out.
That building is a part of the worst legacy, and we are the next generation to do something about it.
Ah, that when I tell you, just watching, I can't give it all away, but just watching your transformation from the beginning of the movie to the end, and like of the transitions and things of that nature, like you really took us on this journey. But all throughout the movie, you still, like you said in the beginning, you still was that voice of hope and of reason and understanding, and you just really still from where you were, still led the family. And that, I mean, that whole, how was that hard? Was it hard to prepare for the transitions that transpired in the movie without giving it all away?
Um, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was hard. I just think it took a lot of collaboration with our director, Courtney Arlett. Um,
Yes.
took a lot of like questioning and just thinking of what does she want? How do I kind of see it? How can we gel it? Figuring out different beats for the different phases that Malik goes through. Um, yeah, and then I think Malik he definitely has like his purpose, and his purpose is gelled into keeping the family together, doing great things in the community, and being impactful, you know, as an individual, but also like with his family members as well. So yeah, there were some challenges, but sometimes I think as an actor, it can be easy, just depending on where you were, like at that time. Um, let's say you're an actor, you got a lot of tension in your body, you got a lot of personal things going on, and you want to make a scene really work. You might put a
Right.
little more pressure on yourself, right? But we had a great family of crew,
Mhm.
of cast members, directors, producers. So, like you said, we had the therapist on set as well. So it was like being at home. It was like being at a cookout at times. And then when you gotta do some work, then hey, you got to work with the family that you can work with.
That's right.
Um, yeah,
The
I think.
pastor was really, we got to get him up here. He was so comical. He kept us laughing the whole time, but it really was just like a family type atmosphere. Everybody was understanding, respectful of each other. And even on the last night that we were filming, we were all tired. We were all standing in that one room, like we were tired as all get out. However, no one snapped, no one snapped. We all was just like, okay, we just getting it done. And we just really had a great time. And like you said, we did have a therapist on site. So if anybody was feeling a certain kind of way, she was definitely there to help out. So we're going to show another clip, and I just want to get everybody's input on this scene.
You know, it's crazy because everyone expects me to show up for them. But who the hell is going to show up for me? Huh? Hell is going to show up for me?
Wow, that was another one. So anxiety plague a lot of, like, most of us suffer with anxiety, but it's all depends upon how, y'all hear that in the background? It all depends upon how we deal with it, how we cope. And therapy is a great way. Therapy is a great way, and there's so many other things that we could do. So, Angelo, what were your thoughts as it relates to him having that anxiety attack? Have you ever experienced anything like that? And what did you do?
Not similar to that, but it is something that's very relatable. And this film just covers so much ground. Like it really got into so many territories and I always found it interesting, like watching it with different groups, like even different family, you know what I mean? Or homies or friends, or them having certain feedback about different scenes that really drove it home for them, you know what I mean? And I look at it as things that they may have been in their family or that they dealt with personally. But this was definitely one. Like as a man, especially black man, men of color, is definitely something very common that we carry the load without ever like talking about it or venting about it and being there for everyone. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. Like the scene was so beautifully written, and the way they executed, the way they shot it, it just felt like you were there. It felt like you were experiencing it. You know what I mean? But a very common thing. Very common thing.
It is. It is. And then we're always, like you said, men, they're always taught as boys to be tough, to be strong, to not cry, to not show emotions. And then when you become a man, then your girlfriend or your significant other is saying, why aren't you acting like you care? Why are you not showing emotions? Why aren't you talking? Don't you have something to say? Can't you make a decision? They were taught to do the opposite, ladies. They were taught to do the opposite. So it's difficult for a man to express himself especially to a woman who he is there to protect, to serve and protect. You know, she's there to protect her. So to be vulnerable to a woman sometimes can be a bit daunting for a man. Jared, I'm sorry.
No,
I want to call you Jared.
No, I think that's I'll piggyback on what Angelo said as well as what you said. I mean, and I think hopefully for men who are watching this is maybe you ask yourself, when's the last time you really just rested, and or what do you need to do to feel like you earn your rest?
That's a good one.
Yeah, because I know men in my family. I definitely grew up with men who worked 2 jobs, and they just worked all the time. And, they probably rested, but it might have been a nap versus like, did they take that weekend off that they might enjoy? So, because we have to take care of ourselves, because, if we have that power to go out in the world and create and manifest money or whatever our dreams and our goals are, that's great and it's necessary. But, our families also, want us there and want us healthy, need to be that in addition to providers and, protectors. So
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Men don't normally go to doctor's appointments. They're canceling them. And then you said something, and I guess Jamel and I both were like, yeah, like stop and take a break and take a rest. Like, when was the last
break? Yeah.
Go ahead, Jamel.
No, that's a real thing, man. And the question is like, when do we feel we've earned a break? Like that's tough. because
Yeah.
do we think we did enough to get a break? Like it's a something psychological is just like the next thing I got the gotta finish that, I gotta do that, and it's always a thing to do, and it reminds me of the cartoon when the guy is on the horse and he got the carrot. I think it's Bugs Bunny or something. He got the carrot out there with, and the horse is still moving, and the horse think he's going to get the carrot, and he's never going to stop moving. The That's literally what it is, because it's just like it's something psychological. Is like I have to do more, but I think I know. For me, it's a lot of responsibility, and being a leader in your circle is a one big part of that. My mom, I got family that's relying on me. I got a lot of people, a big circle that I carry, and I think a lot of that it definitely plays a part in pushing that narrative. Like I feel like even when you go to sleep, you pop up. There's days that I know I don't have that much to do, and I'm sleeping till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I get up at 7 in the morning. Like I'm like, come on, man, it cannot be 7 in the morning right now. You can't do it if you tried. It's like it's something. It's how we wired. It's like I got something to do. I gotta finish that. It's always something, and that's how we wired. But it is a balance. It is a balance that we have to walk
Work
this
hard.
line. Yeah, because we do in leadership roles, we have to suppress a lot, but there is that other side of being a human being, that we also want some type of understanding, and it's hard to ask for that as a man, but of course it's definitely necessary.
Do
Yeah.
you think men talk more now, Angelo, like versus back in the day, like our fathers and things like that? They didn't really share too much. Like you said, they went out, they worked, they had 2 or 3 jobs, they came home, they were the providers. It was like they weren't crying. It was just do what you got to do. But I think maybe there may be a shift now. Do you feel that there's a shift with men talking more, if not to their significant other, but to like a therapist and things like that?
Man, let me start somewhere. So many thoughts.
Uh-huh.
Definitely a shift. I think that's just the story of time, though. Like, I think the thought process or the psychology of generations and the generations of society shift. So I think sometimes a generation is a direct response or direct like anti like thesis, if you would, if I'm saying that right. A direct antithesis to like what their parents went through or what their grandparents went through. So because of all of that, I think most of the men here are probably right in that middle generation where there's like probably a healthy balance and we're seeking that healthy balance. And
Mm.
then there's now, if you look at your nephews or your little cousins, your son and them, there's something real prevalent in that generation that's like sad boy leaning. It's kind of like the aesthetic, the emo aesthetic, like the grunge, and it's cyclical. So that was in years ago during the '80s and other parts of the culture. But us as Black people and brown people, like our parents didn't really get involved in the punk rock grunge woe is me culture. They were like on some other kind of culture. You know what I mean? So,
Right. For
but with that
sure.
comes, what
For
I
Yeah.
sure.
mean? You know, with that comes like not a lot of discussing your problems. But with that also, you don't get to like we only have to unpack that. Like we saw some of the problems that came with our parents and our
Yeah.
grandparents and our great grandparents generation. And I think now the pendulum is swinging all the way to the extreme side, where we're seeing Black and brown children walking around expressing notions and ideas that we associate with other cultures because we thought we didn't have the time for that. And I actually think um,
Mhm.
there's something that's beautiful about it. Like there's something as much as like within the barbershops and our golf courses and the beauty salon, we might be on some like but when I see a Jaden Smith, like when I see a Jaden Smith expressing certain things, I'm just like, well, we're just not used to seeing that because we're not used to seeing that kind of privilege within somebody from our community that
Yeah.
comes from a household of
Mm.
icons and has the wealth and the resources to think vastly and it's almost bred and of a certain archetype to think outside the box and whatever the box is, I'm gonna think outside that joint. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I also understand the notion of Like I saw a meme the other, me and my lady there, yeah, we joke about it all the time. But it just be certain things. I saw a meme, or I just see them put it on a lot of different memes. But it'd be like you just see something that's like, wasn't our parents or grandparents, like, and then they'll put under it, man, I remember when men used to go to war, or I remember when men used to go to war and died and shit. You know what I'm saying? So there
Right.
is a balance of like, yo, that's wild. Like I can't ever relate to that, but at the same time, it's beautiful that somebody or kids in our culture are getting to explore that. But I think right in the middle between our parents and grandparents generation, how they approach trauma and stress, and which is to not discuss it, versus this next generation and even their aesthetic, the music they listen to. Like being from Florida, I rock with Rod Wave. You know what I mean? But I also see where like a lot of that is, it's therapeutic for these kids as well. But also at the same time, are you really doing the work to unpack some of those notions that's in that music? Or are you just dwelling in it because it's of your generation and you're trying to fit in? And I'm gonna do the black nails, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be, but are you really feeling that way, or is it impacting you because your whole generation is a direct response to what we went through and what we did to
Mm,
y'all type shit, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Or did to this
That's
crazy world.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really good. You had something to say, Jamel? I feel like you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I do believe that somewhere along those lines, somewhere along the timeline, it became okay to be programmed, and they just was okay with it, because I believe that a lot. It's not a this is the way I'm feeling. Nobody taught them that, okay, I see this kid, he's got these black nails and he's just expressing himself, and that's nobody taught them that, okay, express yourself the way you want, but you don't have to do that. You can be you. Who are you? You can find you, but you just mimicking. That's what a lot of them got stuck in, I believe. And that's a whole nother psychological warfare right there, is that one sheep fall over the mountain and a million sheep just start falling over the cliff, and there's no originality in character, and it's okay to be that. And I don't think nobody's teaching the kids like it's all right to be you. Nobody's saying, don't like this guy or that guy the way they, or this girl or that girl the way they're doing their style and their things, but find you somewhere in there. Find you, and try something for you, something different. Don't just do that because you seen the guy on Instagram or the girl on Instagram doing that.
I
Try.
I think they're doing that. Like you said, maybe there aren't enough people to teach
Yes.
them the way. But I think being a parent of a 24, a 30-year-old, a 24, and a 17-year-old, we try to teach them, but they're so headstrong.
No, I
Like
don't mean
generation is
I don't mean
so
the parents teaching. I mean, yeah,
society.
I'm talking about I'm talking about where they learned to see, when they seen the black nails, where they, like, we used to have when I was in the street, we used to have what you call OGs. So the OGs, it don't matter how crazy they were and how much drugs they were selling. If we went over and we tripped the old lady or something, the OG would tighten you up. Like, yo, listen, boy, go across the streets and apologize to her, man. Stop. We don't do that over. Like, that's OGs. We don't have nobody doing that no more. You know what I'm saying? It's not. That's missing. That one piece of the chain is out now. You know what I'm saying? So that comes in, that OG comes in many different forms in different circles. That could have been, the grandmother that, I also had my grandmother before she passed. My grandmother died in front of me when I was like 8. So before that, she used to sit me in the kitchen when my mother would be in the street, and my mother was in the street. And she used to sit me in the kitchen, and she used to cook, and I learned how to cook just by sitting in the kitchen and watching her sit me at the spades table while they playing spades and stuff like that. I was little, and I learned how to play spades, and then I was driving and all of this stuff. I learned how to, until she passed away. I was doing all that at a real young age. That's a form of OG,
Yeah.
learning different things like that. You're not gonna do that. No, you're not gonna do that. And it ain't like it don't have to be mom.
I just think
It
a
can
lot of
come from,
people are overwhelmed. Like,
yeah,
even just in talking and speaking with various men about life and about relationships and things like that. And oftentimes they're just like the women had to recover from the pandemic financially, emotionally. They're like, we did too. So we don't want to be committed in a relationship. We don't want to be tied down right now because I may not can financially support you in the way in which we were used to, performing before the pandemic.
pre-pandemic. Hmm.
Now, right. But now it's just like they're overwhelmed too, and they just don't really know how to fix it, or they don't want. I think more men are going to therapy, but not nearly as much as
Mm.
I think should be going to therapy.
I would talk to one, but I might turn to therapist and give the therapist therapy with all the
Wow.
stuff I got going
She's like, I think you all right. Let's watch the next clip, and then we'll discuss that as well.
What happened to, getting snatched up, getting the body summer ready?
The summer is gonna get whatever body that I give it.
Okay, I know that's right. You better give it to him.
Get it? So, do we
right.
find it emotionally draining? Because I think now more men are conscious of their weight, how they look, just as much as the ladies. We have found, studies have found that just as many men go to get muscles, to get their stomach flattened, all of that, to get all of that, the love handles,
Right.
all of that. So, because you all are actors, do you find it kind of daunting, or you constantly thinking about your weight because you are in front of the television screen? Is that something that weigh on you, or y'all just like whatever? Because back in the day, guys would be like whatever, whatever, but the girls, we would be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm only eating a cracker today.
Mhm. At a certain point, everything is whatever, whatever, and I think that's where some of that balance that I guess we trying to look for as men is like, you know, the world could be on fire. It's like I'm gonna be all right. You know what I mean? So I think Cat Williams had a joke years ago on one of his like early joints. I really identified with like a man look in the mirror and be like, "Damn, I got a big ass, crooked ass nose." Okay, that's what's up. That's what I'm working with. Or whatever the case may be. You know, I think with us being on the screen all the time, yeah, there's probably stuff that comes with that, but you roll with it, you use it is an optimum, like best case response. You know what I mean? Because there's value and quality and beauty and all and uniqueness. Really, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to look like everybody else. You want to have some character. You want to jump off the page a certain way. Me, I'm a bigger guy, so I be thinking about it often, like just on some health shit, on some working out, being in the gym. How good can I look on camera? You know what I mean? So at the
Hmm.
end of the day, there's also a balance. You got to make time for family. You got to make time for your goals. You got to make time to enjoy life. So, but no, it's definitely a balance for sure, for sure. For me personally.
Right. Jared?
I mean, I'll say it's a balance, but I think a part of that balance, everybody knows, like, okay, this is how long I can go and feel comfortable, or still have the energy I need to get through life without working out, or I can go this long, maybe eating the things that I probably shouldn't eat, but I enjoy. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy working out for the most part of being active. So, it's a part of my life just because I was active in sports and continue to try to do as much of that as I can. But I think, it is what it is because as an actor, every actor is different. Like some people want to do roles where they might gain weight or they might lose weight, and some people may just want to do roles where they kind of stay within whatever their mode is, whatever health looks like for them, whatever that weight or those size of the muscles look like for them. So I think to each is its own.
Yeah. And I
Yo,
think
at one point in life,
physical
I
health,
wanted to play Suge Knight.
You say you want to play good?
At one point in life, I wanted to play Suge Knight. I was like, I'm gonna put on that weight, but I gotta do that shit before I'm like 40. You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
get it. I'm straight now though. But I was like, yeah. At one time, I had some goals. I was like, yeah, I gotta put on some weight.
Really hard.
My bad. I'm talking about what you was about to say.
no, that was funny. That was good. You was gonna say
Yeah,
Suge. That's
Big
funny.
I was gonna
Suge.
kill that shit.
Yeah.
I was like, nah.
But the physical health and your emotional health goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It all
Yeah.
goes hand in hand. Getting physical, like if you're suffering from anxiety, things of that nature, depression, going out for a 10 to 15-minute walk. It helps to clear your mind. It helps to keep you physically fit. It helps the blood to flow, all of those things. So in essence, what we're saying is physical health and mental health goes hand in
Yeah.
hand. We're gonna watch one more clip, I think, for tonight before we end. This has really been a great conversation talking with you guys. We had a bit, we didn't know it, but it was told to me we had a bit of a technical difficulties in the beginning. They weren't able to see it,
Oh,
but worked out halfway through. So I'm really upset about, not upset, but it is what, like you said, it is what it is.
yeah.
But this has been an awesome, awesome conversation with the three of you about your experiences and how it helped shape and mold your characters in this production. But let us see this one other clip.
Malika's gonna be okay. You know that, right?
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You have nothing to worry about. We are family, and family sticks together.
Look at you. So when they say we're family and family sticks together, I look at that from two ends of the spectrum. One in a good way and the other one in not so great way. So when we say we're family and family stick together, that's one thing we can say as a culture. Like we really go hard for each other, like our family members. We protect our family, things of that nature. But from on the other end of the spectrum, when we say we're a family and family stick together, so you know how they say what goes on in the family stays in the family?
Mhm.
Which is in a bad way, because if certain things happen in the family that needs to be shared with someone outside of the family so that you can get help, I think it kind of have hindered and hindered our family life and have harmed in some way when we don't really want to talk about situations that happen in our family, because our grandmother, our mother said, whatever we talk about, it don't go outside of this house. I mean, and they would like pretty much threaten you. Like if
Yeah.
I hear this, because auntie gonna call mommy and be like, yeah, your daughter was over here. She told me all your business. And you knew what was gonna happen when we got home, right? It was gonna be bad.
Yeah. Now we have, unfortunately and fortunately, now we have Facebook and social media. So anybody that I wish I can deactivate my mother's and some of the older families' accounts. You know what I'm saying? Because for some reason they take to the skies and tell all the business in there, and they feel they got to pour everything out on Facebook and all of this stuff. So that's a form of letting it out the circle now, and
Yeah.
it's a bad thing for sure, because now the wrong people seeing your business and it gets out of control. But it also is a good thing in some parts, because then you get some people that can lend some good insight, on from the outside and looking in. But yeah, I don't think that it's a good idea to just tell everybody everything at all. And I'm old school like that as well. But I guess every circumstance, every instant is different, so we gotta, take it one case at a time. If it's something really serious that you need to get some outside attention from, then the leader of a circle would know how to judge that situation, and you know, and it is what it is.
Your
I'll
way
make
through
the
it.
decision. Hmm.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
So in this movie, y'all, I mean, I would advise audience, please watch this movie. Watch it with your friends and your family, because each time you watch it, each time we talk about it, I can see like so many different emotional or mental disorders that were addressed,
Yeah.
that they spoke about, that spoke to it. And sometimes, you know, while you're watching the movie, you're like, well, I didn't know that was a problem. Because when you're
Yeah.
in it, living in it,
Yeah.
you don't really recognize how crazy or how wrong or how dysfunctional it is until you're from the outside looking in. And so the movie kind of like addressed so many things, like Naomi, how she was a loose cannon. She was your typical angry Black woman. You had Fallon, who, you know, had an eating disorder, you know, always wanting, you know, trying to be thin, but because of the emotional, you know, of being a foster kid and things like that. And she talked about even about not knowing if she was going to be able to eat, like even as her child, you know, herself, not just her character. And so which caused, you know, an eating disorder wherein she, you know, excessive eating. We had people dealing with grief. We had people who was suffering with anxiety. It was so many things that was addressed in this movie. So I would encourage everybody, please go out and watch this movie. Go
Yes.
to
Yes.
Plus and watch this movie. Angela, Jared, Jermel, I am so glad that you hung out with your girl tonight. And I didn't play my clip tonight, guys. I didn't play my clip. So
I see. I was waiting for it.
I didn't play it
Right.
tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking about and this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Men do talk. These guys talk, and they've been more than willing
For
to
sure.
share every single time anybody has asked them to share of their knowledge as it relates to the movie and mental health. They've all been eager to answer the call. So men, thank you so much. Continue to prosper in your mental and physical and financial health.
Hey,
That
That's
is my
right.
prayer
That's right.
for everyone of you.
Appreciate
and
it.
huge
Yeah.
huge shout out to you for
Yes.
this platform. Salute to
Yeah.
you for what you're doing here. This is major.
Thank you
And
for
thank you for
having me.
having
Absolutely.
us. For real, this is dope.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
I appreciate every last one of you. So please, 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 y'all, please take care of yourselves. This has been another episode of Mental Moments. We look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Have a great evening, everybody.